Hi, I'm Daphne from Daps Makeup, and I'm here to give you the quick tea on luxury makeup. And today, I'm excited to talk about the new Pat McGrath Mothership Sunlit Seduction. I know not everybody is excited as I am to have this palette, but I actually am. And I figured even if you're not interested in getting this palette, you still might be curious to know my thoughts and to see what looks I came up with this palette. So I'm still excited to share this with you. You know, what was interesting about getting this particular palette was that there was this glitch on their website where it became available earlier than the reported launch date. And there was this 30% code out there. I took advantage. So not only did I get this on sale, but I actually got it at earlier than expected, which was really great. Now, it did arrive on my doorstep on the day that I was going out for vacation. Now, I've always had said to myself that I would never take a mothership with me to travel, but I said I had to make an exception for this because I wasn't gonna go another week without using this palette. And I was also driving. This was a road trip, so I felt more secure that I could take care of it rather than being on a plane. So I did take this with me. So when you see the demo of me applying this makeup and doing a look with you guys, I was actually in a hotel room with my family who I assumed was asleep. I think they weren't. So you might hear a little bit of my family in the background. So I apologize, the audio is not great. But I wanted to get this up as soon as I could possibly do in the setting of family time, you know. So you will see B-roll of me applying the makeup and doing a look with you guys. Then I added some other clips of the other looks that I created during my trip. You'll see still pictures of the palette and swatches. So take a look at all that, then we'll come back and we'll talk about what I think about this palette. All right, let's use Pat McGrath's Sunlit Seduction together. First, we're gonna open up the packaging if I can. Here we go, here are the beautiful shades. If you're curious what's on my cheek, I actually got the mini Paradise Venus blush with my purchase. How cute is this packaging? The same cute embossing. I love this blush. I'm gonna apply a little bit more. I'm tapping very lightly because this is actually very pigmented. Don't be fooled by the size, but this is actually my absolute favorite blush. So I actually don't mind having a mini size, perfect for travel. I did not get her primer just yet. I do plan on getting it, so I will give you my opinion in the future, but right now I'm just using Urban Decay's eyeshadow primer right now. And I did bring along with me the Chanel Coats Couleur travel case with me to carry all my eye brushes with me. And first I'm gonna go into the lightest shade called Nude Rose. And what I love most about Pat McGrath is not just her special shades, it's her matte. That I can even take her lightest shade and it will show up on me. It will not be ashy. It will blend beautifully. So for me, the mattes are actually one of the things that I love. So this sets the stage. Next, we're gonna go into the mid-tone pink Sienna Mystique to build up the intensity. I like to slowly take my time and build up the intensity with my mattes. So I just take my time and just build with my mattes. Next, I'm going into Extreme Vermilion Dusk to provide some real depth in the crease. And don't worry, this is gonna blend out beautifully, especially I'm using my Sonia G Mini Booster. And these three mattes I feel just work beautifully together. All right, now let's get to some of the shimmers. The special shade Astral Pink Fetish, and I'm putting that all over my lid. Yes, I know, I still get surprised even though I have owned so many Pat McGrath's eyeshadows, it's crazy. Anyway, yes, it has that more crumbly texture. But I don't have a problem with this formulation to her special shades. So I'm applying this on the inner 1/3, and I think this is beautiful. And then I'm going into Blitz Crimson Ecstasy on the outer 1/3. Once again, that same crumbly formula to it. I know some people say that they have trouble picking this kind of shadow with a brush. I'm using the Sonia G Builder 3, and for me, I'm not having any issues with using a brush, but I could totally understand, depending on the quality of brush that you use, that maybe it's an issue. Maybe it'd be better if we had her new eyeshadow primer. You know, we'll have to see if that makes a big difference or not. But I will admit with this, there is a little bit of fallout. So if you hate fallout, be aware of that, okay? But I am gonna go in with my finger. A lot of times I love to first use a brush and follow up with my finger just to build up the intensity. I didn't think it made a huge difference in this case, using my finger versus using the brush, but I wanted to use both, but I'm loving the shine. You know, her special shades always wow me, even though I know there's so many new indie brands that are really killing it right now. I still love her formula. I'm just smoothing things out with my brush, but these two shimmers are beautiful. And then I'm going with the Skin Tone shade Skin Tense Radiance in the inner corner. You know, she always has a skin tone shade. I love to use those for inner corner highlights. And this is the quality that we always expect from her skin tone shade, so no difference there. And yeah, cool, bright pop of color in the inner corner. Works as to be expected. Cleaning up that fallout that I had showed you before with my concealer brush. Like I said, I don't mind doing a little bit of cleanup, but I understand for other people that's a big issue. So just be aware with the special shades. Yes, they can crumble. You can get some fallout. Now, it also came with my purchase a mini extreme black liner. My tip broke off. So, you know, if you see the precision is not the best right now, I'm traveling, so I don't have a sharpener to fix it. So it's coming out very pigmented. But I just said, hey, we're going to go with it. We're going to go with a smoky lower lash line. Yeah, pigmented. I was like, yeah, when she said extreme black, she means extreme black. But it's all good. It's all good. I was like, it's a look, and I have no problem doing that. So I'm using my brush, like I said, to just fully smoke it out. I'm going to wing out the bottom lash line, and we're going with it. And I actually like it, so I don't mind. I'm going back into the shade Extreme Vermilion Dust just to further, you know, like soften the edges and further smoke out the lower lash line. Like I said, I'm going all in on the smoky liner look. Okay, on the top lash, I am using her liquid eyeliner. It's kind of tough doing this on camera, but we're gonna go with it as well. Her liquid liner is super black, super matte. So if you like that, then that's great. It works really well. So, you know, Pat does not play around when it comes to pigmentation, whether it be her eyeshadows or her liner. I think it came out okay, but I think I'm loving the look just overall, even with all my little imperfections. Okay, I'm applying some highlighter, and it is Venus Nectar, one of my absolute favorite highlighters, which pairs well with Paradise Venus Blush. So these two together are beautiful, definitely shiny, pigmented, everything you expect from Pat McGrath. So, you know, just highlighting all the important areas, nose, the whole T-zone basically. So this is what I always do. And now going in for bronzer, and this is with Pat's Bronze Mahogany. Do you make the same face when you apply bronzer? All right, but just to provide some more definition to my face, to have a little bit of bronzer contour action going on. On the lips, I'm not using Pat today. It's a Chanel lippy, but I'm just loving my overall look. I think everything came out beautifully. I know these aren't revolutionary shades, but I love this. hope you appreciated all the looks that I created. But once again, this is the palette. All right, guys, so I know a lot of people are not excited about this palette, and I get it. I totally get it. People are sick of Pat McGrath creating another pink palette, feeling like this is Divine Rose #5. And if you pass on it for that reason, I can't be mad at you. I get it. It is a pink palette, can't deny it. You know, I am a big Pat McGrath fan, so I'm gonna be more lenient compared to some other reviewers, so I'm gonna admit that up front. But yeah, I'm not stupid. It is pink. Could we recreate this? I'm sure if I go through, especially if you know my collection, if I go through all my whole collection, I'm sure that I could recreate similar looks. I'm not, because of, you know, my travel plans and everything, I'm not able to do swatches, but maybe I'll come back with another video and maybe do some swatch comparisons of other shades from Pat McGrath. And by then I'll have the eyeshadow primer and I can update you on that. But yeah, even without me breaking out all my other palettes, sure, I'm sure I can find dupes within my collection, my Pat McGrath collection, that could dupe these. But in terms of, if we just look at this palette just on its own, isolated, without thinking about all the other palettes, what do I think about the formula? Number one, I am somebody who personally does love Pat McGrath mattes, and they perform as expected. They were blendable, they show up, they were not ashy. So I have zero complaints about the mattes. Now, in terms of the shimmers, I do like the shimmers, but I do recognize where some people are not going to be a fan of the shimmers. So, you know, there are many who, when it comes to the special shades, that they like the baked version, and this is not. So these are definitely more flakier. And the one that's going to gives us all, I think anybody who's had this, who gets the most trouble, is with this one. So this Blitz Crimson Ecstasy shade, this one, you can even see, like from my fingers, see the flakes. So it is very flaky. So if you can appreciate that. So yeah, you can see the little bits of flakes there. So fallout, yeah. You know, like I said, I use a Sonia G Builder 3 brush. I didn't have a problem, but I know other people have complained of trouble applying it with a brush. So they did better with the finger. I still like, actually, I do like this formula because I love the shine, the sparkle that these give, but I know not everybody's a fan of them. You know, you have this one, you know, these are very glittery. So this is gonna give more of a glittery finish. I'm just gonna swatch just the special shades with you right now, because I know that's kind of things, I think, biggest in question. Now, I think they're all beautiful. I'm just swatching this one now. But I understand it's not the baked formula. So for better, for worse, if you're not into things being very glittery, flaky, crumbly, then I can understand that you're not going to be a fan and you like the baked version better. I love sparkle. I love glitter. I don't mind dealing with some fallout. So I don't mind this, but I do recognize that it's not for everybody. You know, now these three have a smoother texture, so I will swatch those ones as well. So these ones are going to be smoother, but you're not going to get as much sparkle as a special shade. This one has some shine to that, as you can see, and the Skin Shows shade as well. So these three are definitely going to be smoother, but the special shades are going to be more flaky, crumbly, but they're just, in my opinion, they're pretty, they're sparkly, but it's not for everybody. So I like the palette, but I do recognize why a lot of people would choose to pass it, and I'm not gonna be mad. I can't argue. It's pink, it can be dupable, it's not nothing revolutionary. You might not like this particular form of special shades, but for me, I still actually loved it. I like the looks that I created with it. You know, I was lucky enough to get that 30% off code, But if you wait long enough, there's gonna be a 30% code that's gonna be available to everybody. So also, if you're willing to wait, then also, hey, you don't need to buy on launch day. If you wait long enough, this will eventually go on sale and you can get this 30% off. You might still feel like it's not worth it if you have a large Pat McGrath collection and a lot of it's pink. If you're new to Pat McGrath, this might be finally the palette that you can go for, and you can appreciate her great quality. So that's my opinion. I'm not going to be as negative as many people are going to be out there. Take it or leave it, but that's kind of where I stand. But I hope this was helpful for you, regardless if you choose to get this palette or not. But yeah, pretty shades, not revolutionary, but I still think it's a solid palette. I'm not going to say it's my #1 Pat McGrath mothership. Actually, my #1 might actually even be #10, Moonlit Seduction. There's a couple others actually, but that are my faves. Like in the end, it's a solid palette, but I understand I can understand why it's gonna be a pass for a lot of people. So hopefully this was helpful for you, and I hope you come back for my next video and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're not, and following me on Instagram, Daps_makeup if you're not already. And I will see you next time to talk about the next luxury item that I end up purchasing. All right, have a great day. Bye.